Hey podcaster, I'm Tim Wahlberg, your podcast performance coach with another actionable tip so you can sound like a pro and gain more podcast fans. Today's tip is demand a takeaway from your guest. Let's be clear. You may think you're working for yourself. I'm going to break it to you, Mr. or Ms. Entrepreneur. Your listener is the boss. You work for them. Don't let them down. Remember your job as a podcaster. You're expected to inform, entertain, and engage. Having a great conversation with someone is great, but delivering a takeaway is better. You should be doing this whether you interview guests or if you're a solo podcaster. If you have guests, demand a takeaway from them. If you're solo, demand them from yourself. I give you takeaway every episode. My podcast is focused on the takeaway for you. Just the tip. This is something you're going to hear a lot from me. Over and over again. I base almost everything around serving your listener. Listener-centric podcasting. You've got to be focused on your listener. It all comes down to them. Putting the listener first, servicing them, giving them value. They'll subscribe and come back again and again. You'll turn your fans into promoters.
Hey, coach!
Yeah. I remember back in my radio days when our program director put a picture up in our producer pit.
Coach!
Hold on, Billy. It was a picture of our would-be listener.
Oh, coach!
Settle down, Billy. Just settle down. I'll get to you in a second. We called her Jennifer, and we'd ask ourselves with every story we would produce, what is the takeaway for Jennifer?
Yeah, coachy.
All right, Billy, what is it?
What's a takeaway?
Oh, okay, so I'm glad you asked. A takeaway, for Billy and others who may not know, is defined as a key fact, a point, a tip, a specific action or idea to be remembered by your listener. It's literally the knowledge your listener will take away from your podcast. Some podcasters do this extremely well. They go as far as to actually say the word takeaway. You can, but it's not necessary, and I wouldn't make it a habit because too much spoon feeding becomes a little annoying. So, how do you demand a takeaway from your guest? It's simple. Ask them. But to better serve your listener, ask your guest in advance. Do it in the pre-interview or in an email if you have to. They might give you one on the spot, which is great, or they might say, oh, good question. I'll have to think about that one, and I'll have something ready for the show. But be specific with them so they can give you their best response. More value to your listener. For example, on my show, if I had a guest, I might ask them to share one thing that my listener could do every single time they hit record to be a better podcaster. It all depends on your show or your topic. You know your audience best. Maybe you get the same email over and over from different fans about the same struggle they're all having. Frame it that way to your guest. Ask them, what 3 things can you tell our listener to do to get over this challenge? Let them do the heavy lifting. Once they deliver it, repeat it, and then do it again at the end of your show. Reaffirm the value of your podcast. It's exactly the same if you're going solo. Put yourself through the same process. Make it absolutely clear what it is you want to relay to your listener. That one single nugget. Recap it. Highlight it. Wrap it up. Put a big fat bow on it. Write this down. And I'm talking about scripting it in your extra. Make it crystal clear. If you can't figure out what your takeaway is, your audience won't be able to. It's okay if your podcast has more than one takeaway. Just make sure they're easy to understand for your listener. Now, what did we learn here today? Billy?
Takeaway!
That's right, Billy. Always have a takeaway, which is actually this episode's takeaway. So take it away and go make great podcasts. And I hope that's just the tip you need. I'm Tim Wahlberg. I deliver actionable podcast performance tips. If you'd like a free 15-minute coaching call to talk about your podcast, I'd be happy to connect with you. Let's work together to make your podcast sound great. Find out more and schedule your free call with me at podcastperformancecoach.com. See ya!
Coach! Hey, coach, I got a question. Coachy.